What's going on, everybody? Applersky here, back. I know it's been a while, but had some technical issues to deal with, as well as an illness. But I'm back here with a new video today, and I know I'm a little late to the party on covering this state of play they had for one of my most anticipated games of the year, Ghost of Yotei. But I still wanted to jump in, kind of give my thoughts. They may differ. They probably actually will differ from a lot of other takes maybe you've seen. So if you're new here and you like what I'm doing, consider leaving a subscription. Always helps me out. And for everyone else that's been with me, leave a like, comment, subscribe. And we've got a lot to unpack here. So first of all, the video kind of starts off going over the legend of the Onryo, what it is, what it means in Japanese. You know, it's a merciless ghost, basically living up to that legend that Jin Sakai started, 300 years before this game takes place. So this one picks up, and I believe it's like 1602 or somewhere around there, where traditional samurais were kind of a thing of the past. I mean, they're definitely still had a huge presence and all that for another couple hundred years, but the rise of the Ronin and lone wolves started to come through during the masterless samurai started to kind of come through during this period. So it's a classic revenge tale. Her family was murdered when she was a child by a group called the Yotei Six, and 16 years later she decides she's going to take revenge upon each member. And as you may know, you get to track them down each individually in any order that you see fit. So that's kind of the premise and what we know of the story so far. This is kind of showcasing a really cool mechanic where she gets to relive past memories. They say by the touch of a button, which is a really cool idea. In the original, we had Jin kind of during parts of the story, he would, go back and you'd get to revisit his childhood and play as him a little bit as he's training. And this just kind of takes that to a whole new level. It seems to be like completely, you can do it at any time. I'm not sure if it's going to be a bunch of locations or whatever, but at least, in where her home farm was at, is where you get to do those moments. Now, I do want to say, the visual fidelity and like the physics of the cloth it was already top notch in the original, but they've stepped it up. During certain shots like they show here, it's actually, you could tell it's finally utilizing the full power of the PS5. There is still some jank that I'd like to address, but I'll leave that for a little bit later. Now here, I don't know what this is. They really kind of leave it. I just don't understand the design choice here. This is probably my biggest complaint with the whole presentation, is this card-based system. Like, I really don't understand why it's there. It's really for a game. The original was so like known for its immersion. To me, this new card system completely takes me out of the experience. Like, and I really hope it's not like visually as it looks here. I'm hoping they're just showing that to like explain kind of how it works. But I'd rather, if I'm going to interrogate a guy, I'd rather like give an option of things to ask him about rather than a card representing what I'm asking him. I don't think that does anything, and this is me personally, this is my opinion, but I really don't think that does anything for the game. And matter of fact, it's actually quite a big detractor for me, unless it's used differently than portrayed here in this video. Specifically, now I do like this, the bounty system. This is really cool. Got the smiling guy there. It looks like to be a spitting image of the Joker, so probably paying homage there. But now this is where it gets weird, is you're going after these bounties, and as you take them down, I really hope that's not actual shot of gameplay, I don't need a card popping up covering half my screen when I know who I'm going after. I don't need to see that huge portrait taking up half my screen. Like I said, it's just an immersion breaking thing, and I know it might seem nitpicky, but with how I think the first game had it structured perfectly. I don't really think this card based system in any form is necessary at all. It may differ. Maybe it's not as intrusive as it looks, but so far I'm definitely not a fan of that. Now, here we get to see some new traversal. I mean, it looks relatively the same, right? Getting to go to find these different altars, and here you got your skill tree. Looks a little more bare bones than the first one. I don't know. Maybe there's like multiple layers of the skill tree, but it just didn't seem like there was that many options for different moves. I'm hoping it opens up. Probably does. It's probably just me being worried, but now this is beautiful. This is what I love. So utilizing the spyglass to find that, and from what I can tell right here, I haven't heard anyone else mention this. This looks to me like she went into like the player character went into like a cinematic mode to where maybe this is automatically, kind of like in Red Dead where you could do the cinematic camera that takes you to your destination. And this is a really cool addition. The flower streams making you go faster, so they're not just there to look pretty. They actually serve an in-game purpose, which I thought was really an original idea. Small thing, but just adding to those quality of life things. And I think that's what a lot of this game is. As we see here, some of the same activities return, which I'm fine with. I had a blast doing those, finding them all, and they all do something for you. I was hoping to see a little bit more variety in some of the side activities. We get to see that gambling, coin flicking one, which is cool. But I'm really liking this now. These first person swaps, I really like you can inspect your weaponry and maybe improve it, sharpen the blade. I'm not really sure, but that would be really cool. Kind of taking a nod from like Red Dead. It kind of reminded me of like Red Dead when you inspect and like clean your weapon. Kind of gave me some Red Dead vibes, as some of the new additions do actually give me a little bit of Red Dead vibes. Now, I'm not going to compare this to another samurai game that came out this year because I'm just not going to. In my opinion, there's no need to. Two totally different games. But, there are some similarities, but I'll let you go ahead and figure those out for yourself. Either way, I really like this. Picking the weapons up off the floor and using them, like chucking the spear. I think that's really cool. There's another shot later where you get to see she doesn't they don't show it, but there's a katana stuck in the ground and you can hit R1 to grab that. I'm wondering what the different, if they're all just you're gonna chuck them at someone, or if there's different uses for them. The combat here, our first real look at combat. The dual sword is awesome. All the different weapons, the weapon varieties that they've added is really, really cool. One complaint though, and this is another nitpick, it's just kind of, again, an immersion breaking thing for me, is we get to see how you have all your weapons equipped at all times. And from what it looks like, instead of the stances from the previous game, where you can, hold down, I believe it was R2, and select which stance you want to switch to. It looks like that's been replaced with the different weapon types. Now, that's all fine and dandy and everything, but what I find to be really immersion breaking is you're using your katanas and then all of a sudden you pull your spear out, but it comes out of nowhere, right? That to me, that's really video gamey and an old way of game design. And I wish they would have opted for a more realistic approach where you have to choose your loadouts, to maybe where you could only carry one or two, two max, maybe three weapons at a time, and they're all visually like shown on your person instead of like using the katana and then switching to the Adachi, which is huge, and it's just on her back. Like, so you could see the gun there, which it previously wasn't there before. Like, I just find that like more more immersion breaking than you might think. Now she does do a cool move right here, which I really appreciate. After she takes this guy down, instead of just swiping away and like depleting his health bar, and like the final blow is a swipe, it's like a little sweep, and she gets him to submit, which I think that's a really cool addition. I'm wondering if that's like linear, like if it's like canned animations for specific people, or if you can choose to do that to interrogate them. I'm just curious about that. Now here we get to see the wolf finally in action. Really awesome, that dual takedown. I'm really looking forward to see what else you can do with him. I know he plays a more significant role. Now here we have the Campfire System, which just oozes Red Dead to me. Specifically, like it looks like you can like repair your gear, or I don't know, because it looks like there's a blacksmith kit over there. There's your Japanese instrument. You can play music that do different things, give you buffs. You can cook food. Really Red Dead reminiscent to me. And then having these characters come in, I thought at first when they first started explaining it, I thought it was going to be a random occurrence, but no, it looks like you get to choose certain characters at certain times if you choose them in the menu, which I really actually do like this menu. Very, very beautiful artwork. You get to see the full cast of characters as you unlock them, and they all have different things for you to do, but not all of them can come visit your camp. Like some you have to go see, right? If it's like a mission thing. But if it seems to be like if it's a gear thing or an upgrade thing, you can invite them and they'll show up at your campfire, which I think could be a really cool dynamic for some conversations and some different interactions. It's just a really cool way, and it looks to be like you can camp anywhere too. So I'm wondering, if you have to break your camp down and move it, or if it stays fixed in one location. I'd like to see more on that too. And then here we get into some customization, which of course we knew they were gonna come hard with this, because look at the first game. That was one of my favorite things, was finding the right gear sets paired with the right sword sets and making my loadouts and doing I know it's added later, but it's going to be in this, from the start, is the I forget the transmog system. That's what it is. So I love that they added that with the gear loadouts, and I'm glad to see that return in the initial release of this. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now the music section, I was blown away by the music, the collaborations they're doing. The music is top notch. I know we're doing this. We're not like playing a sample of it or anything, but it's top notch. I would expect nothing better, or nothing, not as good, not as equal. This seems to be kind of taking it up a notch with some more collaborations, and they look really excited about what they're bringing with the music. Next up, we have one of my favorite probably shots in the game. Just the way that fire looked with that. It was a unique enemy too. He had like some fire-based dual weapons, and see the sparks flying and the embers floating around. Just looks really, really cool. And I can't wait to see how the music pairs with some of those more epic moments. Of course, we got photo mode returning, and again, once with the same thing with the customization. I fell in love with this photo mode, and I'm a pretty avid photo mode person. It depends on how many options we get and how robust the system is, and I think that the original Ghost of Tsushima had like one of the best photo modes of any game. So I'm just excited to return to that and see what they added. And speaking of returning, we got the Samurai Cinema coming back. this time, and they're showcasing it here, which is actually a pretty big leap forward in terms of technology, how they did it. A lot of people, I was reading online, a lot of people, I guess they didn't understand that the director's cut, the PS5 version of Tsushima, they used some sort of technology. I'm guessing it had to like be some sort of AI, to where if you chose to play in Japanese, the game like auto lip synced in Japanese, which I thought at the time was like groundbreaking. Well, I guess kind of was, right? They didn't have to do two different performance captures, but it was a little off. I appreciate the effort, but definitely it looks like they either, I don't know if they're still using that tech or if they just went full on and did two full complete performances, which would take forever and a lot more money, time. But either way, glad to see that returning along with Kurosawa mode. Can't go wrong there. This is kind of one of those things that, unless you're like a purist, I mean, I consider myself kind of like a Japanese samurai cinema purist, but the game is so colorful and beautiful. Like, I want to at least experience, because I plan to play through this multiple times, right? But it's cool that they added it back and it looks better than ever. Now, this one completely blew me by surprise. This mode, they're adding another visual mode, and this is right up my alley. That up close and personal with all the much more blood and mud splattering, and 13 Assassins is like one of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm just really glad to see that one in there. And this one, I'm not gonna hate on it. I don't hate Samurai Champloo. I'm just not that big of a fan. The lo-fi music to me doesn't really do anything, but I know there's a huge fan base out there for that. And it's just cool to see them collaborating more and giving us more options. Looks to be like the color might be a little bit more vibrant in that mode too. I don't know if they specifically said that or not, but either way, that's my breakdown of the state of play that we got to see. I know we got the consoles, which look really really cool. They're probably gonna sell out quick. Maybe hopefully I can. That's the problem. I still have my base PS5, so like I couldn't even get the plates because they just don't work. They don't match. So maybe I can get my hands on the controllers. Hopefully, couple things real quick that I wanted to nitpick on to earlier. I would have liked to see them change some of the animations, like specifically the movement. It looks almost like one to one that she moves, and especially crouch, like sneaking, looks exactly like Jin Sakai. And it's just kind of weird, considering she's a completely different character and gender. And I don't know. I would have just liked them to like completely change her movement to make her feel a little bit more distinct. And the floatiness of the jumping, that's kind of like a Sucker Punch staple. I don't know what it was in Infamous, it was in Sly Cooper. I don't know what it is, but it looks ugly, and I was hoping that they'd clean that up with this one, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Again, just a small little nitpick, but definitely wanted to mention that. So that's all for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed my little breakdown, and I'll catch you guys all on the next video. Thanks for watching.